my God!
It was at this moment that I realized things had gone seriously wrong. All right, I had my racing partners come over and help me get this thing off the trailer and into the garage last night. As you can see, she is pretty destroyed. I'll post some still pictures too that I took, but we wound up rolling, I think it was like 4.5 times on here. There's not a single, every single one of these bars on the entire car is broken. All your adjustment bars there. The lower A arm there on the front driver's side is cracked. Surprisingly, that shock survived. That's my brand new shock, so I can't believe that thing survived. Headers are dented in pretty good in some spots, and granted that won't keep this thing from getting back up on the track, but it probably robbed some horsepower. Motor mount's bent in on that side. Firewall's pushed out. Of course, the bumper easily got destroyed. The engine does run. We test fired it last night, fired it up, runs just fine. So luckily there was nothing damaged on the engine except for this carb here. It is all crunched in, and so gonna need a new one of those. Stick that back in there so nothing can get in there. As you can see, the arms on this side are busted. That wheel's laid over. That shock is bent a little bit right there at the top. Don't know if I can straighten that out or not, or if I'd even want to, but that wheel's laid over. Of course, the fender's just sitting there, but that rear fender is the only one that made it out alive, and that running board and this side's the only side that made it out alive. Front driver's fender's gone. Hood is back here, but it's pretty beat up and cracked. I can probably fix it. Nerf bar on this side is gone. Running board need replaced. That fender's gone. On the back, that shock completely ripped off. That's the shock housing there that mounts onto the rear end. And there I've got my finger. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll try to get underneath here. See if I can get the camera underneath there. Giant gaping hole underneath there. So the entire rear end housing is destroyed. That's the starter solenoid in 2 pieces. The battery almost flew out, which is crazy because that's strapped in there pretty good. Here's my pile of parts. The grill surprisingly survived. It just ripped off. The steering box completely stripped the threads and flew out of the front. Can hard bar going across is bent completely. That shock survived over there. So that's good. And then there's just minor body damage over there. It's hard to get on that side. I can't move this thing around now, so it's where it's at. So that's the car in all its glory. The interior held up amazing. I mean, the roll cage is still intact. There's no bends in the roll cage whatsoever. So I will speak highly of the roll cages in these cars. It did its job. There is a slight bend in the frame rail or frame horn right there. And then there was a dent. It's not bent, it's dented in, and I can't get over there to show it to you. But it's right back here. It's just got a dent where something banged it right there, so that can be repaired as well. So I'll know more whenever I get the entire body off and get everything stripped down to the bare chassis. We'll know more about the condition of the frame, but as it appears right now, the frame is repairable and will be able to be used again. So. Okay, I'm going to show you. It looks like the steering shaft looks like it's good. Maybe, I don't know. I can't move the steering wheel, so it may be bent, but it's also disconnected and wedged in between the engine. It's down here. It's snapped off, so that may be why I can't use it. Brake reservoir is trashed. Other than that, that is the only major damage that I've seen on the inside. I'm going to own up to a mistake here. You can see how loose my seat is after that roll. I did not put washers on the bolt heads here, and those washers stretched this seat out during the roll, and then one of them, that one there, almost went through. So this is not good. That was a mistake on my part. The nuts are still on the back. What happened there was I was in a rush when I remounted this seat, and when I repositioned it, the bolts weren't long enough to go back through with the washer on there to get the nut started. So I thought to myself, you know, what's it gonna hurt? I'll get this put back together real quick to head to the track, and then I will fix it later. Well, guess what? I did not get it fixed later and was involved in a wreck the very next race. So do not do any shortcuts, because if that would have come loose, this would have been a whole different story. That being said, I did purchase this seat new this year. This was a seat that fit us a lot better than the old seat that we could barely get in. I do have, you know, brand new harnesses, and granted it took me a while to get out of the car because this is a cam buckle system, and for some reason my shoulder straps were stuck in there. I had to pull on them pretty hard to get the shoulder straps to release from the cam buckle after the accident. So I was sitting in the car for a little bit trying to get that taken care of so I could get out of the car, which is not good, but I don't know if it was just because I was a little dazed or if it was a problem with this. So I will be testing that before I use this again in a race, because I definitely, if something was on fire, I definitely would have wanted to be able to get out of here pretty quick. And I was not able to get out of here quick after the rollover. But like I said, a lot of that was me being kind of stunned, and I bounced my head off these seat things pretty good. So I was pretty stunned during the incident. But that's the car. Okay, what happened on the accident that I can remember, it wasn't anybody's fault. After watching the higher quality video, there was a guy that spun out in front of us. Me and another guy were racing to the line. We all use the receivers that tell us when something happens, and nothing was broadcast. It all happened so fast. We were coming out of turn 4 when he spun not too far away from the checkered flag from the line there. So we were coming around. Me and him were side by side. The guy that spun, or that got spun, was coming back up onto the track, and in the moment I didn't feel like I had anywhere to go. I thought I missed him because I cleared his rear, and then he kept coming up, maybe not knowing where his steering wheel was. Maybe these things are goosey. But anyway, he came around a little bit on me, and that's when I rammed his front tire and went flying. Everything happened so fast in a race that I didn't have time to make the decision that I needed to make, and a lot of that's just inexperience. I should have let off the gas as soon as I seen him, but you never know who's behind you either, so I didn't know if I should slam on my brakes. I still wouldn't have missed him had I slammed on my brakes, but I didn't want anybody crashing into the rear of me, causing a pileup, because there were cars behind us. I didn't want to swerve over into the car that was so close to the right of me, because I didn't want to wreck him out. But I take full responsibility for the wreck, because I should have been a little more heads up. I was focused on the race. I was racing for 10th position. I was running top 5. At the beginning of the race, we'd fallen down to 8th or 9th. We'd worked our way back up to 5th, and then I spun out. So had I not spun out, that you guys seen in the last video I posted, we would have never been in that situation to begin with. So it was a racing incident. It was nobody's fault. It was a freak accident, and it was mainly just aggressive driving on my behalf. My goal was to finish top 10 in every race this year, and that's what I was trying to accomplish. And unfortunately wrecked myself and another car in the process. Mine was a lot worse than him. I think he was able to drive off. But after an accident of that caliber, I can't speak highly enough for the safety equipment. I spent quite a bit of money in safety upgrades to this car this year, and that is the reason that I walked away from the accident. Had I been with my old setup, I don't think I would have definitely been a lot more bruised up and banged up than I am. But I think all the upgrades that we made safety-wise, we put a majority of our money into the safety stuff this year, and I think that saved my life. If you're not wearing a proper neck restraint device, do so. I've got whiplash still, but had I not had that on, it would have been a lot worse, a lot worse. These cars are fixable. You guys aren't. So where do we go from here? We are running the numbers on what it's going to cost to get this thing back together. Right now, just a rough estimate, we're around $3,000 in damage on this car. So that pretty much takes up the rest of our season budget to get this car running again. So we'll see what we can afford to do. We've got help. Some sponsors are kicking in. We're going to have some t-shirts that are coming out that we're going to start selling to try to get the funds back together to get this car put back together and back on the track, because I do enjoy racing so much, and I want to get back out there and continue to improve myself and see what this car can do. She was running good Saturday night, but so what's to come from here on the channel? If you guys want to follow along, subscribe. we're going to be tearing this thing down. I'm going to take you guys along on the journey. We are stripping this car down to the complete bare chassis. It is going to be a roll cage and the front frame and the rear frame, and that is it. We're going to be fixing the bent parts. We're going to be replacing all the broken stuff with new stuff. We've got body work to do. So I'm going to take you guys along on the journey, and I'm going to know every single square inch of this car by the time it's all said and done, because it's going to take lots of nuts and bolts and lots of parts to get this thing put back together. So I appreciate all the messages here on YouTube. I appreciate all the calls, the texts, everything that everybody's been doing, reaching out to us. But we'll get it back together, and hope to see you guys along the journey.